Hello, thank you for joining us. Website authoring, we're looking at colspan, rowspan in the table and looking at how the header of a table, whether it be the top row or the first column, how that fits in the table. So here we have the task, create a web page with a table that has a caption. I don't think that word needs to be there. That has a caption, sales team. Set the border to 5 points, the cell spacing to 5 points, and the cell padding to 10 points. The background color to 548 D4, and the image as turtle.jpg from the same folder. So let's get a start on this table. And we've got an untitled, so we'll have our HTML, open tag, close tag. We'll have our open head, now close head, our title, and we'll just say table with fancy columns and rows. We're going to combine some columns and rows, so we'll call it fancy. And title. All right, so let's put that in the title. Now our head has finished now, so it's open body and closed body down here. Now what we're going to do here is of course make a table, so we'll have our table tag and our closed table tag down here. Now because you can't see it, what we're going to do is our first 2 rows will be used for a header, and then the next 3 rows will have information. Now, this is to do with a travel expenses, and we're going to have 3 rows in our table, 1 for travel and 1 for hotel and 1 for food, and we'll have 3 columns for expenses for Lee, Amir and Maxine. So we will use the top 2 rows as, well, there was a caption, wasn't there? We want to caption sales team, so let's put that caption right up before the table head under the table, so we have a caption. Put this before and the caption, and the caption was sales team. Sales team. There'll be 3 in the sales team. Now, here we go. We're going to start working on the header in the table. Now that's called table head. So T head is the header, the top 2 rows. So we'll put a row, table row, and table row, and table row, and table row. So that's the top 2 rows of the table head. So we will wrap that up with end table head, and T head. Good. We will have 3 rows in the body. So we've got a table body, T body tag, and end T body tag. And we're going to put 3 rows in here. So first row, second row, table row, open and close the table row, and third row, table row, and table row. So there we have this table. Now we've got 5 rows in this table. You can see 2 rows will be in the header, and 3 rows will be in the body. Well, our first row of the header, the very first cell actually will take up the top 2 cells, the top 2 rows. So we're going to have one cell that actually merges with the cell below it. So our first data item, TD, it's going to have, let's just put, we're going to put a picture in here. Let's just call it picture. We'll fix that up later. And TD. The thing is, we want this to take up the merge with the cell below it. So the top 2 rows, remember, we're going to just put in an attribute in this cell here. So I'm going to put a space here. And the attribute is this is going to take up 2 rows. So rowspan is our attribute. And it's going to take up 2 rows. And that is how you make sure that that merges with the row below it. And now this is still in the first row of, and we carry on. The next item is considered to be part of the header. So the heading will be TH for the table heading, and that'll be along in the next, along the first row, and it's going to be end table header, and it's going to take up 3, whatever this is. This is expenses. That's the header. Expenses, and we want this to merge the next 3 cells. So we're going to have an attribute that it's going to take up 3 columns, and that's colspan. It's going to take up 3 columns, and that is our expenses. And that's your first row of the header. The next row of the header, we've already filled up the first cell. Remember, that's taken up with the picture. It's going to fill up the first cell. So then we've got the second, third, and fourth column. So we want an item for the second column. We want a table data item for the third column. And we want an item for the fourth column. All right, so this is all. The thing is, if this is a header, then we don't want data. These are headings, aren't they? So I'm going to change that to TH, because this is part of the heading. TH. I've already got a TH in the first row. But remember, we're still in the T header. So data item, TH, data item, header, and table header. This is in the second row of the table. So we want this table header to be Lee. We want this table header to be Amir. We want this table head to be Maxine. So there are your 3 people in the staff. So we've finished our header. Hopefully these pieces will make it clear. Let's see what this looks like straight away. So let's save this. We're not finished, but it doesn't matter. Save as, and let's call it table expenses .htm. Let's save that. Let's see what this looks like. So table, there it is. And we'll just right click, open with Internet Explorer. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, we've got no borders yet. We've got a caption. Now you can see that the top two rows are taken up with, have been merged. Then we've got expenses in the first row of the header and Lee, Amir, Maxine as in the second, third and fourth column. Right, so it's coming together. We just haven't put any borders in. We haven't put the attributes of our borders or cell spaces. Let's go back and continue. Now we're going to put the information now along in the body of the table. Table body, table head. Here we go. Go scroll down. It's these three rows now. The first row. Okay, so we're going to put data, TD and TD. The first data item is travel. The next data item is 162.20, and that's for Lee, and that data item. The third table, the third cell along that row, we're going to put the Amir's travel expenses, which is 285.75, and the data item. And the third data item, we're going to put the expense for Maxine, $150. And that's your first row. The second row, we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to cut and paste these 4 cells because then we can just replace travel with hotel expenses. And the next data item is Lee's hotel expenses, $240. And then Maxine's hotel expenses, $182.40. Maxine's, so that was Amir's expense. Now Maxine's hotel, $322. And there's the second row of the data. And we've got one more row, the very last row down here between TR and NTR. And so the first, let's just do what we did before. And this is expenses food. Food expense 146.50. For Amir, 102.10, and for Maxine, 104.50. Now just realized these are actually, this travel is not really a data item. This is also part of the header. It's down in the first column. So these are headers for our table. So let's put TH just so that the computer knows that these are headers. They're part of the heading and the data is part of the information. Now that way if we format, we can set up a style sheet for TH and we can set up a style sheet for TD and we could have different characters there. Let's have a look at this, save that, and let's run that so that you can see what this is looking like now. And there we've got notice the bold header because we put TH and this is TD, TD, TD. The next row of the body, TH, TD, 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 TH, TD, TD, TD. So default of TH is bold. Now this, remember, picture is merged with the top two. There's a row span of 2 and the expenses is a column span of 3. What we need now is, we mentioned we wanted set the border to 5 points, the cell spacing to 10 points, and the cell padding to 10 points. Cell spacing to 5 points and cell padding to 10 points. Now we're going to do that in the body, sorry, in the attribute of table. So if we go to our table, open table tag, right up when we first open the table, here, table. What we're going to do is put some attributes in here, in with this open table tag. So we want a border equals, and we wanted 5, yeah, space. We want rules equal all. So this applies to the entire table. We could set the rules, the attributes of these tables, the attributes here to just the rows, just the columns, but we're setting the attributes to the entire table. And we wanted cell padding to be 10 pixels. This is one word. Space. And we want cell spacing equals 5 pixels. Let's have a look at what this will look like now. Save that, and this time we've got a border. Save. So we've set up our attributes for the table, and let's see what it looks like with our attributes turned on. Okay, here we go. We've got our border, which is 5. We've got our cell space. We've put in this little extra space here inside, and cell padding. That's lovely, nicely displayed table. We just have to insert the picture now. Now, where do we get the picture from? So here we've just got the word picture, but what we want to do is make a reference to the image source. So let's go to where we had picture, and let's put image source. So here, instead of picture, we will say we're going to put an image tag here. An image tag. Now, an image tag is simply just one tag. We don't have a close image tag. But our attributes of the image is where do we get the picture from? So that's the source of the picture, and it's called turtle.jpg, and that's in the same folder. It has to be in the same folder if we've got no pathway here, and it's not found on the internet, so we don't have to start with HTTP, and a URL where we can find a picture. Now, we can give this a name. So let's call it, if you put the cursor over company logo, let's put capital C here. Let's make sure your capitals. If the exam tells you what to give it as an alternative name, and we need to close this, end this tag. So there's your greater than sign, there's your less than sign, here's your image tag. Instead of the word picture now, we're going to put an image, and it's going to be found it's going to be called turtle.jpg. This is not necessarily the alt, it's just extra attribute. So let's save that. Okay, looking at HTML, see there's the turtle.jpg sitting in the same folder as table expense, so it should be fine. Let's open this Internet Explorer, and there we have the table. We've inserted the picture, and it's slotted in quite nice. We've got 2 rows, taking up 2 rows, that's a row span. We've got 3 columns, merging with 3 columns, that's column span or colspan, row span. And these 2 rows, top 2 rows are T-head, these 3 rows are T-body. And then we've got TH, TH, TH cells, TH, TD, 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 TH, TD, 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 and this is TR, this row is TR, and this row is TR. And there's 2 TRs here, but we only have a TH, TH in the second row because that was already taken up from the first row. And there we have a completion of our task, and we will have a look a little bit more at positioning of images in tables in our next task. I suggest you play around with this and get good at it, and until our next task where I talk to you again, stay happy.